Hi everybody, Ryan Jackson here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for taking our little adventure here on the 100 days of the 2026 NEC code changes. We're in Article 392 now, which covers cable tray, and we're going to talk about a change they made in 392.18f. And I like what they did here. I just don't necessarily like the words that they chose, and we'll kind of talk about it, and we'll show you what the actual words in the code book say versus the way I teach it. And you can tell me if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. Remember that I never copy and paste the code book onto my slides, right? Obviously, it would be a copyright violation, and I would just rather not do it anyway. Sometimes it's easier to explain when it's in my words than when it's in the code text. But on this one, we're going to look at the actual code text, and we'll try to get to the bottom of what this change means and perhaps what it is supposed to mean. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, we're in Article 392, which covers cable trays. 392.18 installation. Prescriptive free space requirements were added for cable trays. All right, so how much space do you need above a cable tray? The code has never really talked about it. Why do you need free space above a cable tray? Well, you need to be able to get up there and add wires, certainly. But sometimes you have to get up there and make splices as well. So you need space above the cable tray so that you can do that. But how much space do you need? Well, the code has never said. Now it says you need at least 12 inches of free space above the cable tray. Cool. I don't know if 12 is the right or wrong number. I don't know. It seems reasonable to me. I think with 12 inches, you could probably get up there and make a splice and see what you're doing and add wires. Probably ought to have more if you can get more, but sometimes it's not a perfect world. So you need at least 12 inches of free space above the cable tray. Now there's a number of exceptions here. I think there's 4 exceptions, and herein lies the problem. It's the way the exceptions are written. To me, there's nothing worse in the code than an exception that is not written in a complete sentence. And I know that sounds pedantic and I'm arguing semantics, but we're arguing words, and the words matter, right? We have to look at what the code says, and we have to be able to look at it and use that to call the balls and strikes, right, if you're the AHJ. So let's take a peek, and we'll open up NFPA link and figure out if we can get to the bottom of what this rule actually says. All right, so we're in NFPA link, and we're going to open up the 2026 NEC, and I'm going to search 392.18. Cable trays, there we go. And we'll scroll down to the letter F. Why don't I move that, make it a little bit bigger, and I'll hit Control plus to make it even bigger still. So the minimum space, and right off the bat, the minimum, what is the? A minimum space of 12 inches of access above cable trays shall be provided and maintained to permit access for installing and maintaining the cables. Okay, need 12 inches above the cable tray, fine. Exception 1, where the installation complies with 645.5 for IT equipment room. Okay, well, if it complies with 645.5 for an IT equipment room, then what? Are we removing the entire requirement? Is that what we're saying? Or are we saying that you need less space? Are you saying we need no space? Or is this an exception where it's mandatory? Remember, sometimes the exceptions add rules. They don't always remove requirements. Sometimes they add requirements. So when we have an incomplete sentence like this, somebody has to figure out what it means. So I think it's probably saying that the rule does not apply at all if you're in a 645 IT room. That's my thoughts. Number 2, in industrial establishments where conditions of maintenance and supervision ensure that only qualified persons service the installed cable tray, comma, ... What? You can't write an exception that's not a complete sentence. So I think that is removing the entire requirement, but it doesn't say that. It just says something. So that's my thought. Now, when you look at exception number 3, perfect. By special permission, smaller distances shall be permitted. Great. I know exactly what that means, right? By special permission means the written consent of the AHJ. That's in Article 100 under special permission. Smaller distances are allowed. Great. I have a complete sentence. I know what that means. And then look at exception number 4. For equipment crossing at any angle. Well, what for equipment? Again, are we removing the entire section? I think that's probably what we're doing, but the code really needs some clarity on this. So let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures here. All right, so 12 inches of free space above the cable trays. And by the way, I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, right? I've written a lot of code rules, and I've written some bad ones. It happens. We're all humans, you know. Sometimes we get it wrong. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm beating up the code making panel. I'm really not trying to. I'm just pointing out the importance of writing code correctly, right? There's a document called the NFPA, the NEC style manual, that tells the code making panels how the code needs to be written. And one of the things it says is you need to use complete sentences, which, you know, should go without saying, but it's there just to make sure that we're all clear on that. Here's the way I think I would enforce it. Exception 1. In information technology rooms that comply with Article 645, the free space is not required at all. That's what I think the exception is trying to say. And I guess that makes sense because when I think of an IT room, you could have a cable tray up in the ceiling, certainly, but you're just as likely to have one underneath the raised floor. And, you know, you might not have a 12-inch dead space underneath the raised floor to get that 12 inches of clearance. And why should it matter? Because the obstructing item above the cable tray, the floor, is removable. So what's the issue, right? So I don't think I would require any free space in an IT room. Exception 2. Free space is not required for industrial establishments with conditions of maintenance and supervision that limit servicing to qualified persons. So I think this is a complete total get out of jail free card if you're in a supervised industrial location. So I don't think that any free space whatsoever is required. I think that's the intent, and that's the way I would enforce it. Number 3, smaller clearances are allowed by special permission. This is an interesting scenario here. So this is in some apartments, and you can see that we've used SER cable, and we've got a basket-style cable tray to support them. Do we have 12 inches from the top of the tray to the bottom of that structural ceiling? No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, maybe if you count the depth of the floor joist above, if you had to, maybe you could. But, you know, if those are 9.5-inch floor joists, you might not get it. But let's just be honest here. Who cares? You're not going to be splicing in that thing, right? This is not a supervised industrial location. I mean, this is an apartment building. You're not going to be splicing there. So why would it matter if I have less than 12 inches? As long as I have enough to, you know, maybe add another cable or remove one if I wanted to. So I would grant special permission on an installation like this to allow less than 12 inches. And then the other exception, smaller clearances are allowed where equipment crosses above the tray. So when it says crosses above the tray, I guess that means perpendicular, right? So the cable tray is here and something else crosses this way. Whereas if it's parallel, like here in the picture, we've got one going the exact same way, right? They're all concentric bends following each other. Is that okay if that was less than 12 inches? Is that an example of equipment crossing above the tray? Maybe. You could argue that. This is a supervised industrial location, so I think we're okay regardless. But, you know, when we talk about crossing over the tray, maybe we need some clarity on exactly what that means. So there you go, 392.12f, or 18f rather. Again, I like the rule. I like that we have a prescriptive requirement. I hate it when the code doesn't say anything, right? I like a good black and white code that says, if it's less than 6 feet, here's the rule. If it's more than 6 feet, there's the rule. You know, so we need a number. We need something that we can all agree on, and now we have that number 12. Unfortunately, for the next 3 years, we might have to have a little bit of debate and try to solve, how we're going to get this in the 2029. I've already submitted a proposal to try and clean up the language, so hopefully by 2029 it should be fixed. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me on our little adventure here through the code book. We're going to talk about switch enclosures up next. We're going to make it into Chapter 4. I hope you'll join me then, and I hope you're being safe out there. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.